Hey crafty people! Welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! We're working on part 2 of creating this 8.5 by 8.5 album folio thingy. We're going to be adding the designer paper flips, flaps, and pockets. If you missed part 1, there's a link in the description down below. So, let's start at the front. What I want to do, and all of this of course is optional. These are things I'm adding to my album. You don't have to do them. You can do some of them, all of them, whatever you want to do for your piece. And I of course have mislaid the very first piece I want. All right, so the first piece is a scrap from, I don't know, one of my offcuts while working on this project. I've got a lot of scraps from having done this like 3 times. But it's 8¼ inches tall, and it's, let me see, 2¼ inches wide. So this is a piece, this piece is gonna go on here as a pocket, but I'm gonna wait to attach it until I pull out my decorative papers and start adding those, because I find it's a little easier to tuck the piece that's going to cover this section up under the pocket and add the pocket than it is to do it with the pocket attached. It just makes life a little easier. Now, for this page, which is one that doesn't have any pockets yet, that was just our straight page we added, I'm taking a piece and I'm going to pull out my scoreboard first, and I'm going to use it to help me mark some lines on the top of my paper. And grab a pencil. All right. So I am gonna go to 2½ inches and use my scoreboard to mark it. Then I'm gonna flip this around and mark it at 5 inches. So we've got 2 little marks. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my paper trimmer. You of course could use a ruler and a craft knife for this if you prefer. And I'm gonna line up on my cutting line those 2 marks so that we're gonna basically cut a diagonal pocket here. So I'm gonna do this. So that's gonna give us this lovely slanted pocket like that. I'm gonna erase my pencil marks. We're going to bring our piece back and we're going to attach this pocket on here, is going to get attached on here. But again, I think for ease of the pattern papers, we're going to come back and attach this piece in a minute when we pull out our pattern papers that are going to go on here. The cut off, we're going to save and flip over and stick down here as a corner pocket on this page. Now on, oops, let me shift a little more. On this page where we've got the side pocket, the pages aren't lining up. So I am just gonna take, you know, I think I'm gonna be all right if I take my scissors, because I can use this, the shorter piece, as a guide, and I should be able to cut straight. So I'm just gonna trim this up. And I cut it mostly straight. Now, on this side, what I decided to do, I took some off cuts, and these are 4 3/4 wide by 8 1/4 long. And I think I'm just gonna take my scoreboard out, score them each at a 1/2 inch. Fold it over, use my bone folder to get a nice crease. Of course, again, I've been making notes to myself on these as to how long they are. I'm just gonna take my eraser and erase any marks I made. And we're gonna come back over with our piece. And on this page, right, that's the one more work, yep. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna attach them like this so that they will flip open. Just to add a little bit more interest to the page. Kind of eyeballing where they're gonna go. And before I attach them, I'm gonna round the corners on this end. And I'm using the 1/4 inch on my We Are Memory Keepers. So that's gonna go about there. That's gonna go about there. And I'm just gonna glue those down. And I'm just gonna apply glue to the back of the flap. And so we just have two, just to add a little bit more interest to the page. Again, it's not quite lined up. I don't know if you can see, so I'm gonna just take my scissors again. Now, these are the Tim Holtz Tonic scissors, and they've got a micro serrated blade. But a tip I learned from a Tonic video was, if you cut so that the side without, like the logo on it, is facing you, the piece you cut away is gonna get the micro serration part. I don't know if you can see that. And the piece that's you're leaving will be smooth. So that is a tip if you're using Tonic Tim Holtz micro serrated blades. All right, for this one, we've got a couple pieces I've cut. I've got one piece that is 8.5 by 5 1/4, and one that's 7 1/4 by 5 1/4. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull out our scoreboard again. We're gonna score at 8, and then at 3/4 inch. So we scored at 8 3/4 inch. We're gonna fold up our short end and crease it down well. And then we're gonna take our other piece that is 5 1/4 by 7 1/4, and we're gonna glue it on. And my 5 1/4 over here is a little wide, so we're gonna have to do some trimming up to straighten that out. But we're gonna glue down on here. All right, now what we're gonna do is line that up here and fold over, because that's what we essentially want to happen. So I just wanna make sure we're capable of getting a good fold over. All right, and we're gonna cover this with decorative paper, so don't worry too much. I'm gonna just burnish that down. So that will flap like that. All right, so we are going to attach, oh, you know what? I need to leave a little bit of space for that. So, correction, we're gonna score this at 5/8, because that'll give a little room, because this is tucking up. We've got it scored at the 5/8. That gives us a little room so that it'll sit nicely. That will attach here and flip up and up, or you could attach it at the bottom and have it flip down and down. I think we're gonna go with attaching it at the top. Now let me see, I was a little off. Yeah, this is, the top piece is a hair wider than the bottom piece. So I'm just gonna use my scissors to trim that up. And we're gonna add glue just to our little flap and attach it to our page. Gonna kind of center it, attach it down. It looks about center. It's at the top of our page. So we're just gonna burnish everything down really well to make sure our creases are good. And our extra crease should be covered by the design paper we're gonna add once we're done. So that'll flip up. And of course our seam will be covered by the papers too, and that'll flip out. So there's that pocket. For this page, we'll come back to him because I forgot. Oh, you know what? I wasn't going to put something there because I'm putting something here that's going to be a little bit bulky. That's right. All right. So for this page, I have cut a piece that is 6.5 by 8. And another piece that's 3 3/4 by 8. I'm going to pull out my scoreboard. And we're going to score a 1/2 inch on both pieces. We're just gonna fold on our score lines. Round our corners. So here, so you can probably see a little bit better. So that's the shorter piece. And then for the longer piece, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna fold over and fold that down well, corner round using our 1/4 inch, and then we're going to bring our page back and we're going to attach. Let's start with the bottom piece and just try and get it as centered as possible because it's about a 1/4 inch shorter than the page is so that it would fit nicely. So we're going to add glue, and actually what I'm going to do is just snip a little bit of an angle off here to take out a little bit of the bulk when we add this to the page so it'll sit better. I'm just gonna take a sliver off, just a little bit of an angle off. And I'm gonna do that for the top piece as well. We're gonna add a little bit of glue to our bottom. And again, I'm gonna do my best to try and center it. Probably should have used Barely Arts glue for this because that would work better. So I've got it at the very bottom of the page. Just press that down. I'm gonna attach this at the very top of the page, making sure it's lined up with the bottom part. I'm gonna flip it over so it's easier for me to attach it. So we're gonna attach it at the top and make sure it's lined up with the bottom flap. Just press it down. So there we go. And this page is right side up. We'll have a piece that flips up like that and one that flips down like that, giving plenty of room in here. Now on the last page, I've got that piece that I messed up in gluing that I think I told you about. And so I was able to salvage some of it, and it's 8 1/4 wide, and it's a little over 5. It's 5 1/4 tall. I'm just gonna basically fold it in half. This way we don't have an issue with stuff getting like stuck on the mucky glueness on the back. and turn it into a pocket. And then that will go down on the bottom of this page as a pocket on the bottom of the page. So I'm just gonna glue this closed. Just use my bone folder to make sure it's folded down and glued together nicely. You of course don't have to double layer the pocket. I just didn't want to waste the paper, but I also was a little worried about it like causing problems because it was kind of janky on the back and had been ripped off a page. So that's gonna be a pocket right there. And as with our other pockets, we're gonna pull out our pattern papers and start attaching that before we start attaching those type of pockets, because it just makes it a little bit easier. And I am gonna go pull out the papers I want to use. Okay, so I've gone ahead and pulled out my papers, and these are from the Graphic 45 Little One paper pack. And I also picked up, and it's the 8x8 pack. So that's where all the measurements for this guy centered around, was because I wanted to be able to use the whole sheets from the 8x8 pack. And it's got designer strips at the top, so I went ahead and cut those off all of the pages. I also have the 12x12 coordinating stripes and plain and all of those, and that's in the 12x12. So I've got those as well for this. So this is going to be my front cover page, but I've got to figure out my closure because I want to have a magnetic closure, and I'm going to want to put the magnet down before I attach this piece. So we're going to hold off on doing that just for a minute, and we're going to start in with our first page. And I grabbed the green stripe, and we're gonna put our pocket over here, and our pocket measures 2.5 inches ish. So we're gonna cut off 2.25 inches from this piece to mount on that piece. We're gonna cut it down to 2.25. Now, I am going to line this up I apparently can't measure because this is 2.25, not 2.5 wide, so I want this to be 2 inches wide. All right, we're going to cut this down to 2 inches. We're going to save this strip. Now we're going to do what I was saying. We're going to line it up where we want it, but flush to the one edge, because I want to cut a thumb notch in here. So I'm going to grab my 1.5 inch hole punch. I am going to find the center because I am horrible at eyeballing the center, and it really bugs me when it's like way off center. And so I'm just going to put that back down. Grab my centering ruler. Hold on. My dog is starting to pace about because he wishes to go out. Do a little mark for the center and punch my hole out of both pieces at the same time. I'm going to save my pattern paper piece. I'm going to attach this to this. Now that's an option if you wanted to do the green side on the top. Just flip it over before you do the punching, because then it will line up properly. Bring over our book, and so this is going to go here. This piece is going to go here. We're going to also glue on our accidental cutoff so that it's flush.
so that you hopefully don't notice, and our cutoff notch. So that's what we're gonna do for this page. I'm just gonna glue this down, and then once I get this glued down, I'm gonna go let dogs out, and we'll move on to the next one. There you go. You can't even tell that I cut off the wrong spot. I'm gonna erase my little tick mark from off here. I'm gonna line up my pocket in the right place. And we're just gonna apply glue here, here, and here. And I'm just gonna make sure I'm lining up my pattern paper right. And I'm gonna press that down, and I'm gonna pinch in with my fingers towards each other, which will give a little lift to the pocket so that there's a little bit more room for adding stuff. And then I'm gonna attach my little thumb notch punch out right here. So there we go. So it looks like there's one continuous piece going underneath the pocket, even though there isn't. All right, so now we're gonna do our little slanty pocket. And so what I've done is I've taken the pocket piece and I'm lining up the paper I wanna use on it. And I'm gonna make little marks about 1/8 of an inch down on this side and up here on the top to mark where we need to cut off the top triangle. So that should work and get us matted correctly. So again, as I did with creating the pocket, we're gonna line up our two little pencil marks in our paper trimmer so that I've got both marks on the line where I'm gonna cut. And I'm gonna run my paper trimmer along, and there we go. And now when I pull this back, it should line up. There we go. Look at that. That came out just right. Okay. I'm gonna use my eraser to erase the marks on my paper. Glue this down. Yeah, the back's got all these cute little like stamp cut aparts that I'm gonna take the other sheet of this and cut those apart for using in decorating. I just love this page. These cute little bunny pacifiers are adorable. I don't know how well you can see them, but aren't they cute? Oh. All right, so that's going on this page. So we're gonna just go ahead and glue it down. And I'm just gonna glue it down the side and the bottom. This way there's more room for sticking stuff in. So I'm gonna glue along the side, the bottom, and up this side to create our pocket. Line it up and attach it down. I think we may have a little bit of overhang on this side that we'll trim off once it's dried and on there. And then this piece can either go here, or what I think I may do is attach it on this page. And put it over here. Oh yeah, I think I like that. All right, so I'm gonna use this to figure out where to cut off a piece of this page, which we will probably use the back side on the other, because that's going to be upside down and that will probably bug me. So we're just going to use this and a pencil, line it up top and bottom, draw a line, grab our paper trimmer. Okay, let's flip back to this page. We're just gonna tuck that in on the page. Try and get it to line. You know what? It does not want to line up right. Ah, no. You know what? I'm gonna go with it and just put something to cover up the fact that that word's upside down. So we'll just decorate that issue away. Is basically what we're gonna do. All right, so let's glue this down. I should have flipped the paper over when I cut out the bit, but I did not. So we're just gonna make it work. Yeah, we'll just end up maybe cutting out some of these things and putting them on there. That would probably be really cute. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Going to this side, we're gonna attach our cute little bunnies to our corner pocket. And I probably should have put the glue on that side, or on the bunny piece. I'm just having a morning today. All right, that's gonna go down here in the corner. Let's make sure we get this lined up nice and neat. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and attach this page down. And then go let a dog in because, yeah. Ooh, sorry for bumping the camera. All right, let's slip on this pocket before I go let a dog in. There we go, and that's gonna need a little bit more glue. All right, I'm gonna go let a dog in. All right, we're gonna add more glue. Which I know I'm a little bit off screen, but it's like partially attached at the bottom, but not on the side. So I don't wanna rip it all the way off. So I'm just like hinging it up so that I can add some more glue. There we go. We've got that pocket. All right, moving right along. This is just a straight attached to the page kind of thing. Okay, so I've got, these are scrap bits from cutting the 12.5 or the 12 by 12 down to 8 by 8s. So we're going to use that for covering our little flaps. But first, let's glue the base piece down so that it's in place. All right, let's measure the width of these again. They are a little over 2.5. I'm double checking that. They are a little over 2.5. They're 2 3/4. So between 2.5 and 2 3/4. And they are about 7 3/4 inches long. So I want my pieces to be, we're going to 2.5 by 7.5. That should work just fine. And actually, while we're here, let's just go ahead and glue this page down, and then I'll pull out my paper trimmer. Two and a half. By 7.5. All right, we're gonna pull out our corner rounder and round our corners. And this is the 1/4 inch. I think I'm gonna do the, actually I think I'm gonna flip that and do it as just plain yellow on that side. I think this one will get the pink, and I'll do it as the plain pink on that side. And that's the wrong side to add glue to. All right, so we're gonna do the pink stars because the glue's gonna show, and boy, I really think I need to just get this done and turn off the camera for today because we're on the struggle bus this morning, or this afternoon, or whatever time it is. All right, so that one will be stars. This one will be plain so that I don't have the yellow stars against the yellow stars. Flip them over. And this one I'm definitely going to do both on the balloon side. All right, so we're now onto this page, and I'm going to start by pointing out that I designed this so that they'd be like, once with the piece of paper matted on them, it would be 5 by 7. And I really should have thought this out more thoroughly, because if I had designed it to be 6 by 5 or 6 by 4.5, I could have gotten all 4 sheets to cover all of the sides out of one 12 by 12 piece of paper instead of having to use 2. All right, we're gonna start with the back and attach the green balloons. Okay, I think I'm gonna do pink, yellow, oh, you can't see, yellow, and then flips up like that, pink and yellow. So that's what we're gonna do. And actually, I think we're gonna get fancy here. We're gonna take our corner rounder and round the folded corner. And then we're gonna round the bottom corner here. So I'm just kind of folding it back on itself so that I can get there. There we go. Woo! And apparently I need to empty it out because I've got corners popping out everywhere. All right. Which means we're gonna need to corner round our pages as we add them. All right, this one's going on here. Let's round the corners. Oh, this one needs both corners rounded. Yikes. Thankfully, I did not put glue all the way to the corners. And you can't see that at all, can you? All right, so I'm adding this on here like that. So it's going on like that. I'm gonna flip this over. And I think we decided the pink one was gonna go here. So that just needs the top corners rounded. And I would just flip this over because right now it's very awkward how I'm holding it to get this on, but I want to make sure I don't put this on upside down. And I'm afraid if I flip it over that, given how things have been going today, that's exactly what I do. So there we go. That's right side up. Now we can do that. Now I can flip this whole thing around for adding this last one. And this one's going to get corner rounded on all ends. All right, let's, oops, sorry about bumping the camera. Flip that back around, flip that back around, and then that flips down like that. Another one of our just straight add-on pages. This one is just gonna go, you know what, I keep doing all my stripes horizontal, don't I? Yes, all right, or vertical. Let's do these stripes horizontal. Mix it up a little bit. All right, so this is where we've got this guy going on. This page is so adorable. All right, we're gonna just attach this down. And we're gonna use the balloons on here. So we're gonna have to do some measuring. Fingers crossed. So the top piece is 3 1/4. So that means I'm gonna want it 3, and I believe it's 8 wide. Yes, so 3 by 7 3/4. And so the bottom piece is 6. So I'm gonna want 5 3/4 by 7 3/4. Not too worried about those because they'll be covered, but my measurements up there need to come off. Okay, I'm gonna go grab my paper trimmer and trim that down. But first, we're gonna take it down to 7 3/4. Let's double check our measurements. 3. Oh no, that piece isn't gonna be long enough. Hold on a sec, I need to do a little thinking. Okay, so I paused for a moment and thought, because yeah, this page is 8 by 8, but our flap overhangs. So I think what I am gonna do is do the top section with a piece of the 12 by 12 that I have left over with the balloons, and do the bottom section with this balloons. So we're gonna cut this at 5 3/4, which is our bottom section. So that will go there, and then we'll cut down this piece to 7 3/4 by 3. And use that on the top. And we're gonna round our top corners. I'm gonna do a better job of rounding our top corners. And on this piece, we're gonna round our bottom corners. So that will go there, and this piece will go there. Thank goodness I managed to round the right corners so my balloons are going right side up and not upside down. So I would have been very cranky if I had done it the wrong way. All right, that's done. And I just realized I completely forgot I need papers for inside. So I'm going to have to pick out some papers to go on the inside of those, and we'll come back to that. Let's get the back page done. And I think I'm going to give my art glitter glue a rest since he's not enjoying the heat, and switch to my Barely art. And this one's just going to get applied straight on. And then this one, we've got the bottom pocket. Now, because this is a double layer of thick cardstock, I'm going to cut the thumb notch out first this time. Again, I'm going to use my centering ruler to find the center. And if you've never used a centering ruler, pretty much you've got a 0 in the center. So if you line up so that you've got the same distance on either side from the 0, you know you are in the center. So we're going to go ahead and punch that. Measure how big we need to cut our pocket. Woo! I'm throwing things around. Sorry about that. That is between 2.5 and 2 3/4. It's actually 2 and, what is that, 5/8. So I think I'm going to cut our pocket off at 2.5. I'm going to cut 2.5. We're going to line this up how far we want it to go on the sides, and then just line it up so that we can use the existing thumb notch as a guide for punching out on this. There we go. We're going to attach this to our pocket. Book back. This piece is gonna go there. The pocket's gonna go there. Let's make sure we line everybody up so the papers are lined up, right? Yep. Okay. Let's attach this piece. And it's got beautiful florals on the back. I'm not using any of the floral pages, or on the back of some of the pages, because this is going to be a gift for a friend of mine who had a little boy recently, and she is not exactly a frilly florally type of girl. So I figured, you know what, we're going to stick with not using the florals for this piece. I have a feeling I'm going to want to put our thumb notch piece on now. Oh, good. I've got flowers here I can use to line it up. So let's add some glue. Then we're going to add glue to the sides and bottom and attach our pocket. And then I've got a piece to go on the back. I'll use the brown balloons on the back. I think I'm gonna use one of my offcuts to put along the side there. Now, going back to our cover, this piece I want to use for the cover. Now, I ordered the ephemera pack that goes with this, but it hasn't arrived yet, so I can't finish decorating it yet. But I think I know what I want to do for the closure. So I think what I want to do is essentially a band of cardstock that will be attached in the back and wrap around. The real problem is figuring out how big we want it. So how long of a piece of paper we need. If the thing gets thicker, we want it so that wherever we put the magnet, it will work with filling the sucker up with some stuff. I think what we can start by doing is I don't think I'm gonna have it come very far onto this side. So let's do there. I'm just gonna mark that. And this is one of my offcut pieces, and it is 8.5 by 2. So we're just gonna attach a little piece to the back. And I think I'm gonna get a little fancy, and I'm gonna pull out my scallop punch, and we're gonna scallop punch these so that it's a little more decorative. And I'm gonna attach that here. So that's gonna go here, and I'm gonna use the edge of the book to do a hard crease so I know where I'm gluing to for the piece that's going on the back. All right. That's gonna go there. I'm trying to get it as straight as possible. All right, we're gonna flip over and it's gonna wrap around, but basically I wanna make it so that if she puts a bunch of stuff in here, the magnet closure's still gonna work. So I don't wanna make it too tight of a closure. I am gonna get a couple more things that I need for doing the closure because I think I know what I wanna do. Okay, so what I am gonna do is I've die cut out a couple of the rectangles from the My Favorite Stamps stitched rectangle dies. So they're a nesting set of dies. So this is, I think the brown base is the second largest of the rectangles, and then I went one size down for out of the pattern paper. So we're gonna attach these. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna set that. This is just a matter of planning everything out because you don't really want a ton of layers between your magnet, between the two magnets. So I want to make sure I've got everything figured out so that I can put the magnet below a piece of paper so it doesn't show, but have it lined up properly so it's only below, or put it in the right spot so it's only below one piece on the band and one piece of paper on the front cover. And I think this is what we're gonna do. And then I've got a leftover strip that's about 1.5 inches, so it's a little bit narrower than I normally would do for this, but I'm okay with that because I'm just gonna use a scrap instead of cutting something new. And actually, now that I'm looking at it against that, I think maybe, do I want the yellow stars instead? Or just go crazy and bring in the pink stars? I think so. We're gonna start with that. So we're gonna flip this over. I'm gonna pull out my scallop punch and scallop punch the corners and attach it like that. We're gonna reattach. Don't worry, this shouldn't, don't mess me up here. All right, I'm putting a hard crease at where the back is, and I know it is gonna be for sure. I'm gonna add some scrap pieces to mimic adding bulk to the album so that I can put in somewhat of a crease so that the paper lays better, because it was not liking going over the corners fully attached. Okay, so we're gonna add more glue. If that makes any sense. It was buckling when I was trying to fold it over. So that should work better. And any mess up over here is gonna get covered by the pieces we're attaching. So that should be good for our band. It should be all right. Like it should stop buckling. All right. We're gonna start by gluing these guys on and gluing them to each other. And let's bring this back and see. Because I think we're gonna do that and that. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna attach glue to the bottom one. Glue to our top one. Attach this one, it can go on right away. So there's that. The back piece is where the magnets are gonna go. So we're gonna wait and attach this piece after we put our magnets on. I've got, these are the basic gray magnets and they've got adhesive on one side. They're also marked plus and minus. So you need a plus and a minus. I'm gonna use 2 magnets for my closure. And here's why. I'm gonna put down the first magnet. Center it about there. That should give me enough room. Maybe move it over just a smidge. So that'll go over it like that. And I'm gonna put the other plus magnet down. Over here. And I line them kind of up next to each other so they're in line with each other. And then I'm gonna attach this over top. Glue around the magnet, glue around the magnet. I'm gonna press that down good. And then to put the other magnets on, we're gonna just stick them on. Pull our book back over so you can see. We're gonna pull off the backing of our negative magnets. Fold our thing over, get it lined up how we want it, set it down, and then pull that off. Now this way, and then we're gonna add this piece on. But see, here's the beauty of this. If this gets bigger and expands more, the furthest magnet on this piece can attach to the magnet further over this way. So by having 2 magnets, you've got 2 options for closing this. So there we go for that. We're gonna add this piece on. I'm gonna put glue around our magnets. And make sure we push it down between and around our magnets really well. So we can take all of our filler out. And so it'll close like that. And it's essentially squared up to be a little bit wider, but there's plenty of room in this for adding all sorts of stuff and pictures and things like that. So that's all for assembly. Oh no, we have 2 pages we still have to put stuff on. I've got to go find some paper. I'll be back. Okay, so what I've decided is I'm pulling in some of my leftover scrap bits. Now this piece isn't quite tall enough for here, but what I'm gonna do is grab this piece of green and I'm gonna use a decorative scissor along the edge to make it look intentional. And then we'll use some of this for the top flap. So let me get out my paper trimmer so we can cut everybody down to the right size. So we need this piece to be 7 3/4 by 3. That's for our top flap. And 7 3/4. And this piece is 5. So I'm going to cut this to 7 3/4. Cut it down to 1 inch so we've got a little bit of overhang. Actually, let's do 1.25 inches. Give me a little extra. These are Fiskar Arabian is the scissor shape. And we're just gonna do our best to be straight and cut all right, so that's straight-ish. And so for our top piece, this is going here, we're gonna need to round those corners. So there's that. Down here, we are gonna round, gonna do it this way. Or do I wanna do it this way? I think I like it better this way, so we're gonna round the corners on this one. And then this piece is gonna go right there. And so that looks like it was an intentional design choice. Not exactly straight, but close enough. All right, so that's that. Now it needs a closure, and what I'm probably gonna do is something similar to what we did for this and have a piece that goes on here. Now I forgot to put a magnet in, so I'll probably try and do it with a decorative element. But since I'm waiting for the ephemera bits to arrive, that's gonna be on hold for a minute. So that's all we're doing on this guy today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for watching and happy crafting.